You're watching the PlantX vodcast. Join us as we explore the inner workings of all things plant-based and all things PlantX, from the products and lifestyles to the people behind them. Now welcome our host, the man who combined his love of e-commerce and the plant-based lifestyle to create PlantX, Sean Dollinger.
Hey everyone, welcome to Season 3, Episode 2 of the PlantX podcast. Thanks again to all of our shareholders and investors who've reached out over the last couple of weeks supporting PlantX in 2022 and giving us your feedback and telling us what we could do better on this podcast. We have such great followers after, going live here for about 2 years now. Actually, it's been about a year and a half. And on today's episode, we're going to start doing things a little bit differently, where it'll be more interactive. And what I mean by that is, instead of us coming out here and just saying what's going on, I'm going to try to take bits and pieces from our e-com side, from our distribution side, and share them here so everybody could see them firsthand. And see them all at the same time. Everybody has the same opportunity to watch our podcasts. Today we have Wendy, head of operations in the US for Veganuary. I just found out about them a few months ago, but it's viral. It's everywhere. And it's unbelievable what they've created, and can't wait to have her on the show today, because something that's so important is to understand how viral the whole plant-based space is going and how quickly it's growing. So I'm really, really excited. I had a chance to catch up with her for about 20 minutes before the show today, and I think you guys will find it very informative. So before we get into a little bit of the puzzle that I wanted to share today, for all the new viewers who've never joined us or doesn't really know what PlantX is all about, we're your one-stop shop for everything plant-based. So if somebody's looking for products for their pets, animals, groceries, cleaning supplies, cosmetics, anything you could think of, I believe between all of our distribution centers now, we have over 10,000 different products. And that just keeps growing and accelerating. And we have the auto subscription button on the websites now. So check out plantx.com or plantx.ca. People are now able to subscribe to weekly, monthly drop-offs. And now that we have our footprint in Los Angeles, San Diego, Las Vegas, Chicago, Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver, and the list keeps growing, these act as distribution points that we can now offer same-day delivery, next day delivery, and the list goes on. For our shareholders, investors, customers who join us, and maybe you don't know, we also have one of the leading plant subscription companies in Europe and the UK called Bloombox Club. So we started off by acquiring bloomboxclub.com, and that was about a year ago. And we shared with our investors and shareholders what we would be doing. We would be expanding that platform throughout the world. And now that the technology is in place, we're on Shopify Plus, and it allows us to scale. We've went ahead and launched Bloombox Germany, bloomboxusa.com that you could go check. These sites are live. This isn't just PlantX speaking about these verticals. They actually exist. And Germany, where Julia Frank has really stepped in as director of operations for the German side, I decided to go into the back ends to share screenshots with you on the growth. Now that our algorithms, that our SEO's in place, it just shows how we've been able to scale a business that was virtually nothing a couple months ago to a $2 to $3 million vertical pretty much overnight. So Adam, who moderates our podcasts, I asked him to put together the slides. Adam, could we go ahead and share January, please? So here's January, again, 429 euros, that equals about $800 Canadian, or a little shy of that, and that's January 4th, 15 orders. And, for our viewers, or our shareholders, investors might say, okay, that's great, but January 4th, it's right after the holidays. So we also went ahead and pulled December 4th, we pulled the same day of the month. So it happened to be December 7th. This is for Tuesdays. And going into the busiest season, Christmas season, we were at 750 euros that day, and we did 18 orders. And this is where we were testing out a lot of A/B testing. So one thing I also want to start doing a little bit more on the shows as well is explain a little bit more about the technology that goes into things, where you don't just put up a website and it magically works. There's a lot of things that go into it. And, seeing December and then seeing January. And then Adam, if you don't mind putting up yesterday's numbers, we did 2,500 euros. So we did 400% more than we did, 4 times the revenue in December and January. And you would think, okay, maybe we're taking today's data or yesterday's data only because it was a good day. Here we are today, actually higher than yesterday with 2,600 euros in sales. This is one of PlantX's 20 or so different verticals. And last week when I was trying to explain the power and the value just behind that one vertical Bloom box that I personally believe is worth more than our market cap today, this is why I wanted to take the time to share it with you and start explaining to you how quickly we could now scale the businesses. And that's due to you guys believing in us and trusting us. And again, thank you very much for that. So on that note, and we'll start structuring the vodcasts where we'll start with a little bit of a preview like that, so you could really start understanding the business. Then we'll obviously bring our guest on, and then we could close up the show with questions and what we were doing before. So on that note, Wendy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sean. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday to join us. And before we jump into the questions we have for you today, we love to start by asking, how do you take your coffee?
I love that. So I'm someone who tends to go 100 miles an hour anyways. So during the week, I try not to do too much coffee because it's just my focus goes out the window. But on the weekend, I love a really decadent cup of coffee. So I'll have an oat latte, or if I'm doing it at home, usually a little bit of cinnamon and the most indulgent plant-based creamer I can find. So lately I like the Silk half and half in my coffee.
That's awesome. And what I love about the question, everybody seems to take their coffee different, for the most part. If we watch through all the episodes, it's amazing. And I have to be honest, the last couple of weeks, and I'm the biggest coffee lover out there. One of the reasons I suggested to the board and the management team for us to acquire Portfolio Coffee was because of how much I love coffee. And I've been having tea lately, but tea with oat milk. A lot of people say, really? And it's amazing. Mint tea with oat milk. Give it a try.
I'll have to try that. Yeah, that sounds good.
So as I mentioned earlier, Wendy, we just came across Veganuary. I believe you reached out, or someone from your team, because it actually happened on our UK website, where we started a little bit of a partnership. And I just thought it was so interesting. I still remember learning about what you guys were doing. How did you guys become what you are?
Yeah, I'll start with the basics for anyone who doesn't know us. So Veganuary is, of course, a combination of the words vegan and January. And we're a global nonprofit that encourages people to try plant-based in January and beyond. And the heart of what we do is a 31-day plant-based pledge. So when you sign up to take the pledge, you get a daily email with things like recipes, meal plans, and our best tips for transitioning to plant-based. And of course, we work with great retailers and brands like PlantX to create special offers just to make it even easier for our audience. And just to go kind of back into the origin story a little bit. So we started in the UK in 2014, and it started out as an idea between a husband and wife team, Matthew Glover and Jane Land, kind of sitting around their kitchen table in York. And Matthew had participated in Movember, which is the campaign where men grow a mustache in November to support prostate cancer charities. And they thought, what if we took this same model and applied it to veganism? And it's, a time of year in January, people are already thinking resolutions, they're thinking new beginnings. So it just made sense to do it in January. And of course, Veganuary sounds a lot better than, Varch or Vapril. So that's how it began.
Love it. And I think it's fantastic because so many people, and one thing I've noticed since entering into this space, and we did it pre-pandemic, the idea came to be in about December of 2019, and we launched our website you see today in April of 2020. And, I can't tell you how many people are always like, it's so hard to go plant-based. What do you eat? Pasta and bread and all these things. So I think when a company like yours comes along and does what it does, it's so inspiring. It gives people the tools, and that's something we're going to be working on our website, is a whole 101 section to really walk people through the journey throughout the year. Like, you guys are doing it now to inspire people to get started in January, but really help support that cause through the whole year,
Amazing. I love that.
Cool. Thanks. And so where did, you mentioned how the company became what it is. What was the traction like at the start? Where is it today? How much time did it take to get there?
Yeah, so I'll speak, I guess, first to the overall global campaign, and then I can tell you more about the US specifically if you'd like. But that first year, so Matthew and Jane had this idea. They were going to try getting the campaign off the ground, and they set what they thought was a lofty goal of getting 1,000 people to sign up. And in year one, there were 3,300 participants. So they knew they were onto something. If we fast forward to last campaign, actually, I'll tell you this campaign because we just calculated our final numbers. So if we fast forward to 2022, we had 629,000 participants in 288 countries. So it's definitely been a meteoric rise from those humble beginnings.
It's amazing. Wow, that traction is very hard, and just shows you how interested people must be in this space to get that kind of traction. So that's great. And what kind of obstacles did you guys encounter when it started getting going? And what do you see over the next little bit as far as hurdles, obstacles over, let's say, the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years?
Yeah, when I look at obstacles, it's easiest for me to speak about the US campaign specifically because I've been overseeing the campaign since we launched here in 2020. And first, we of course have to address, the same barriers that all businesses and all organizations in the plant-based space have to address first, which are the assumptions that eating plant-based is expensive, is inconvenient, is tasteless, and is socially isolating. So whenever we're building content, we're always thinking about our pledgers' concerns and obstacles and using those as guideposts. So we offer things like budget meal plans and discounts. We push people towards quick, easy, convenient food on the go, and also really work hard to curate, the most flavorful recipes, the best products, similar to what you do, so that we can offer people, great advice and support and a community of people to do this with them. And another challenge, I knew I would have coming into the US campaign is that vegan is in our name. And US studies have shown that plant-based tends to be a more accessible term for US consumers. So the challenge was really just owning that term vegan and doing everything we can to make it cool, essentially. And we've really utilized celebrities, influencers, and brand connections to help build that positive reputation, not only for Veganuary, but also building on the work others have done to elevate the term vegan overall.
I think that's great. And I think you guys are doing a wonderful job, even seeing the images and hearing people speak about the whole movement and what you guys have created is so exciting. And I love that because food is such an emotional topic, right? Like everybody does it every single day, multiple times a day. And obviously educating people from what we've been taught. I'm 41, and things that might have been true 30 plus years ago while growing up are definitely not true today with research and the way that products have evolved. And even the plant-based space in the 10 plus years that I've been going through those changes, the product, the categories, the innovation is just unbelievable. So you guys definitely have a big challenge in educating and teaching, but obviously it's really catching on, and it just shows you how many people are really truly interested in the space. So when people take this challenge of Veganuary, and they come in and they start going through that process of learning. How many people, and do you have this stat even, how many people actually convert and stay on, and how long do they stay on for?
Yeah, so our hope and our goal is that eating plant-based in January is going to be such a positive experience and is going to open people's eyes to all of the great options that are already out there in the grocery store and on restaurant menus, that they're going to want to do this longer. And our evidence really shows that it's working. So after the 2021 campaign, we surveyed participants, and 85% said that they plan to at least have their intake of animal products. And among those, 40% plan to stay fully vegan. And so that was right after the campaign, their intentions. But then 6 months later, we surveyed them again, and 82% successfully reduced their intake by half, and 30% successfully stayed vegan. So it's a 31-day campaign, but it really does have an enduring impact.
Amazing. Yeah. And as we see, even the fast food companies out there make it more accessible, because sometimes it's not easy, right? Or if you're running through an airport, where are the options? You don't want to just snack on some nuts, or
Right.
things like that. Some people, but when somebody's making that transition, they need to feel satisfied at the end of the day. They need to be, wow, this actually tastes amazing. If you put them through a 31-day challenge and it feels like it's not a lifestyle change, it's
Right.
so hard for them to succeed. So
yeah, we don't want them watching the calendar and looking forward to February 1st to go back to their old ways. We want them to really enjoy the experience and want to integrate it more fully.
Yeah, no, it's great what you guys are doing. And again, like the whole myth that plant-based needs to be expensive. There's these incredible bags now that come with like a whole assortment of beans, and that you could just add tomatoes in with a broth, and and you could add rice, and you could feed like a family of 6 for like $15, and there's leftovers after that, So it's pretty wild. Like when you start really exploring and being like, wow, this tastes great. I feel amazing. It's not like I'm done dinner and I need to go lie down after, it's like, what do I do next? So I think it's great. And Wendy, as you know, the show is live, and what we love to do, people are taking time out of their day to watch us, and it's not every day we have the head of US operations for Veganuary on the show. So to make it more productive, anybody who has any questions, please be active. Any suggestions on how to make the show better. If you like that we're putting things in at the beginning of the show to really show what's going on at PlantX, feel free to share. The floor is really open for you, and thanks. Thanks for taking the time. And today, for whoever participates, if they're in the US, we'll go ahead and get them out Little West juices. So Wendy, we own a company called Little West with an amazing assortment of incredible juices that literally within 48 hours end up in the jar and out for delivery. So, and we're going to be launching in Canada in the next 30 days. Andrew Walker and Cassandra Troy, the founders of the company, from Canada originally, have a huge following here in Canada. So we're going to be excited to hand out those juices in Canada as well to whoever's active. So, the last question that we had for you today essentially was, Veganuary exploding, the traction, and PlantX has had a great start. It's been an unbelievable ride. We went from essentially $0 in revenue a year and a half ago. We're on pace to do $24 million in revenue this year. So we definitely see things accelerating. Our social platforms, they're busy. They could always be busier, so it's amazing what you guys have been able to accomplish. And I believe you're a non-for-profit Veganuary also.
We are.
So, and so you're always looking at how to do things out of the box. What kind of recommendations, suggestions do you have for us here at PlantX?
What I think makes Veganuary's model especially unique is that we really take an ecosystems approach to dietary change. So key to our intervention is support. And that means supporting consumers who want to try vegan, but also supporting food businesses. So on one end, we do the consumer outreach, and that gives participants this incentive to make the transition. And on the other end, the counterpart is this equally strong focus on supporting brands and retailers and restaurants and making sure that they get visibility to consumers. So there's this nice synergy that happens where the momentum of the movement on one side and marketplace changes on the other side reinforce each other, and it leads to this snowball effect. So hopefully this isn't too wordy, but really what I'm trying to say is that when we think of things as an ecosystem and really, use mission-driven organizations and businesses to lift each other up and think holistically about not just what consumers, want to buy, but the information that they need and how we can educate them, it kind of lifts all boats. And it sounds like you're already doing that. You're already thinking about creating this 101 section on the site. I think anything you can do to support the consumer that wants to make that transition and educate them will just strengthen their resolve to continue purchasing your products.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, and thanks. It makes a lot of sense. We do that a lot for our openings at our stores, where we welcome people in the industry, and then they obviously share on their Insta and their social channels, and that's where I always believe 1 + 1 = 11 at the end of the day. So we're definitely really trying hard for that, and then also having a monthly kind of showcase of the newest products out there. Yeah. So I think that's great advice, and we're definitely going to keep working at that.
I love that.
Thank you. So yeah, there's been a lot of questions today, so hopefully you're ready for some of those.
I'm ready.
And really appreciate you coming on and sharing today, because it's a really interesting cause, and the growth that you guys are seeing is unbelievable. Gets me really excited. And today we had the opportunity to speak to Dr. Dean Ornish, and he has an unbelievable following around the world, U.S. especially, and we're going to speak to him a little bit more tomorrow. He's been on the Oprah Winfrey show, and he has a whole bunch of different angles he takes. So we're going to go ahead and send out the juices for him to give a try today to see what he thinks of them. So thanks for supporting us, Dean. We definitely appreciate it. So one question from Maya, and you briefly covered it. How do companies like Veganuary turn a profit?
Hi, Maya. Thanks so much for your question. So we are a nonprofit. We're a registered UK charity. So we're not necessarily going for profit. But the way that we fund our work is completely through donor funding right now. So we're very fortunate to have some fantastic supporters.
Love it. Great. And thanks, Maya, for taking the time to write that. Michael Grennan, who's a huge supporter of PlantX, pretty much joins every week. He brings up Thrive Marketplace. Wendy, I'm sure you've heard of it, and they're doing a great job. They talk about the different packages there, and with fasting, etc. Have you guys done anything with them, or?
We have, yeah. So one thing we offer participants is a special offers page on our website, and that's filled with different discount codes and product launches and things that our participants can take advantage of. We had a great bundle from PlantX there this year, and Thrive Market also did a discount for our members.
Awesome. Yeah, they have such a great website. I'm a believer in, you don't reinvent the wheel. You look at who's doing an amazing job, and there's always room for improvement. So you take it, you look, you tweak, and keep going from there. So we definitely think they're doing a wonderful job over there. And then Michael threw in, which I think is pretty funny. He says, what about Plant&January for May flowers? So that could be cute. We'll see that. And then he asks about if Bloombox exists in Canada. And, this just shows you where a concept, and this is the beauty of PlantX being so, agile and able to move. If we were just focused on Canada for Bloombox, we would be out of business, to be completely honest. So first there were problems with shipping. Then you get through the shipping problems, and now it's the summer, and we dealt with off the chart heat in Canada. Plants were dying after sitting in a box for 3 to 5 days. You come up with that angle. Then guess what? Now it's winter in minus 30-degree climates. Even with heat packs, the plants still don't make it across the country. There were so many curveballs, so many different things that took place that we decided to pivot, focus on our US and other international businesses. And that's how we're able to accelerate and move so quickly. So hopefully that answers your question, Michael. So for Wendy, any suggestions on how to build a support system to assist the transition into going vegan? Why is it so many people give up?
Yeah, I think support is absolutely key. And that's one thing we're trying to achieve by creating this moment and this movement around Veganuary, is the feeling that you're really a part of something bigger. And one way that we've sought to do that is by creating private Facebook groups. So everyone who signs up for a certain campaign, we think of them as kind of the class of 2022. They all go into a private Facebook group where they can lean on each other for advice, support, share triumphs and struggles. And we also have volunteer moderators who are longer term vegans who go in and answer questions. So, I think looking for digital spaces where you can find some support is great. And hopefully once things open back up, doing things like vegan meetups will allow people to find an in-person support system.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm sure people will do that. And it'd be fun to even be able to go into people's places and set it up for them and host events. And it's a great idea. So thanks for sharing that. And, normally we stop with the questions about now, but I think it's great and really interesting and people seem to have more. So if you don't mind, just a few more minutes.
Not at all. Keep them coming.
All right, awesome. Do you think the word plant-based will replace the word vegan as a way to make the whole lifestyle more approachable?
It's a really good question. And I don't know. I think that plant-based is being seen more often in the corporate space. So I definitely am noticing restaurants, retailers, and brands leaning more towards plant-based than vegan. And I think it gets a little bit watered down as well. So I have seen plant-based used on products that aren't 100% vegan. And I think today's consumer really values transparency. And, as more people seek out 100% plant-based products, I have a feeling the term vegan will remain really popular because it means exactly what it is. If it's vegan, for sure you're getting something that doesn't include animal products.
I think that's a really good point. And at PlantX, because we're trying, I think companies like Oatly, Beyond, Impossible, the way they got their traction is they didn't really have to educate people on the way something should taste that's not like in the ordinary. If a burger doesn't taste like a burger, you need to educate, teach. Somebody needs to go, oh, well, I was expecting the taste of a burger, but it's not. And that's how I think they grew so quickly and how they got so much shelf space. So that's why I think you brought up excellent points. But at PlantX, that's why we went with plant-based for what you said earlier in the show, where it's more widely accepted, people feel welcoming, and there's challenges. So I like both angles, and I think both have a place and a home at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So Michael, this question's for myself. He goes, Sean, I've talked about PlantX franchises with you in the future. We definitely have a bunch of people interested in PlantX franchises. A huge announcement's going to be coming up in the next little bit on the franchising side of things. And I encourage you to keep your eyes peeled and to look at some of our stores currently in Los Angeles and San Diego. I think perhaps you'll see some interesting and exciting things taking place at those stores. So hopefully that answers your question. Juan Campo, speaking about the stock price and the buybacks, et cetera, all that type of information is disclosed. We come on here half an hour each week to share, to show everything that we're doing. And at the end of the day, the most important thing for the company is that we grow into an incredible education center, distribution points, e-com, like everything coming together. And that's really, truly what we're doing. And I'm really, really proud of the team where we're at today. Share price will eventually go to where the company is valued. So two more really, really quick things. We've got Justin Manning. He says, Doctor, Ornish is the GOAT. Maybe say something that you're so excited about the opportunity to potential with him. Absolutely. We are beyond excited to partner with him at the end of the day. And we'll be working on those things. And he is definitely one of the most recognized people in the whole plant-based space. So, we really, really appreciate him recognizing what PlantX stands for at the end of the day. And we're looking forward to exploring that opportunity. And Wendy, I don't know about you, and I'm sure you've seen this as well. Due to this space and people believing in it so much, just like Dr. Ornish at the end of the day, that everybody's willing to help one another in this space. And I've never really seen that before, where everybody's willing to come together to help the next company get to the next level. And I think you guys are the holy grail for the industry who's really doing that to show. Like, I remember when I was on the call that, it's all coming back to me. I'm like, so what's the cost? How much is it going to cost? And it's like, no, what are you talking about? It's not really going to cost you anything. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I think, in some ways I have a really easy job because I get to sell something free, right? Which is the idea of Veganuary and having this huge marketing moment around plant-based in January. And I just think it's an idea whose time has come, and we want to help absolutely any business out there that wants to connect with plant-based consumers. So yeah, I think there's a really great communal spirit in the plant-based space. And the myth that vegans are an insular and judgmental people is starting to dissipate a bit, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And then the last question for today, and then we'll let you go enjoy the rest of your day, from Sarah. Many people fall off the wagon because they see vegan as a diet, not a lifestyle. Wendy, how can we change that?
People come into veganism for so many different reasons. And, I know our followers, or the folks who do Veganuary at least, tends to be for animals, health, or the environment. And I think focusing on your why is the most important thing for continuity. So if it is just a trendy moment or something you want to do in the short term, that's fine to get your foot in the door, but it's our job to really educate people about all of the reasons to stick with it. Because once you open your eyes to some of the key motivators for a plant-based diet, it's really hard to look away. So I think education, setting people up for success, and then making sure they really understand the benefit and the impact they're having is a way to keep people going long term.
Yeah, because there's so many reasons to go plant-based. I think it is really important that we first take the time to understand why somebody's looking to do the journey. Are they doing it for health reasons? Are they doing it just because they're curious? There's so many different aspects to it. And then I think that journey could be created along a lifestyle or whatever direction they want to go in. So Wendy, thank you very much. It was a great show, and it was awesome to be able to speak to you live here and really learn more about Veganuary and what you guys stand for. And we salute you from PlantX that you guys are doing an incredible job, and we're here to support any way we can.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be here, and thanks for all your support this year.
Thank you. Cheers.
Take care.
Thank you very much for joining today. And I know the show ran a little longer than usual. Again, give feedback. Is that okay? Would you like hard stops? Would you still like us to go ahead and do the recap videos that we used to do? So within 5 minutes, you could kind of see and hear all of the highlights from the show. Companies like Veganuary, with the movement, the growth they're getting, the synergies that PlantX has aligning with companies like this, it really allows us to get ahead. It allows us to be one of the first movers in the industry as far as growth on the technology side goes, and to really spread the word of PlantX. And again, I get asked a lot by investors, shareholders, what's PlantX all about? And at the end of the day, we are an e-commerce company, a platform that allows people to come learn, find the newest and greatest items, and to create an experience that is like no other, that people could be inspired and have fun and find out about all the new and innovative products in the industry. And again, thank you to the team for working around the clock. Like we showed you a little earlier on the platform of Bloombox Germany, that's just going to keep accelerating. One thing I left out, we are now expanding into Ireland this week, next week into France and Spain. How do companies grow at such an accelerated rate and be able to cover populations of 60 million plus, for example, in France? What does that start looking like in a year from now? Hopefully, everybody could imagine where we're headed. And again, thank you so much for your time and supporting us and believing in us. Until next time, stay curious, stay planted, stay healthy.
Thanks for watching the PlantX Vodcast. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more information, go to investor.plantx.com. See you next time.